Another groundbreaking at Texas Tech will lead to the opening of the doors to a facility that will help educate generations to come about one of the most important parts of West Texas life. And coming up, we'll have the details and when you can plan a visit.
The diversity of the Texas Tech population was on full display during the annual International Week festivities here on campus. Find out how members of the local community had the chance to enjoy unique creations while learning about the histories of the many cultures here at Texas Tech.
And Texas Tech volleyball and soccer headed north over the weekend to put their skills to the test against Big 12 competition in Kansas. But did either team bring home victory? MCTV's Joshua Ermis has the highlights from all this past weekend's games and a look at what's coming up this week in sports.
This is the MCTV Weekday Update.
Welcome to the Monday edition of the MCTV Weekday Update. I'm Alejandra Salazar.
And I'm Patricia Perry. Texas Tech University is home to many world-class institutions and facilities that attract people to the South Plains. And last week, one of the university's most unique locations held a groundbreaking for a facility that will bring even more visitors to Lubbock to learn about the industry that helped bring Texas Tech to life.
Welcome to the National Ranching Heritage Center, the only center in the world uniquely dedicated to telling the story of ranching and preserving and promoting our ranching heritage. It has captured the hearts, minds, and imaginations of people from around the world.
The Cash Family Ranch Life Learning Center allows us to share the story of modern ranchers and to show the challenges and opportunities that come with this business and lifestyle.
Tech is an institution that was built on ambition and hard work, and that is so core to the ranching and agricultural industry and to the Cash family. And so it's so fitting and proper that this should be happening here. And I think all of you who are in the ranching and agricultural industry, no matter how old you are, you identify with that message. It's deeper than just the story. It conveys a spirit of what it is to be in that industry. And it's one that we need to educate our students about today.
My family is still ranching. We're still here. And I hope to leave a legacy and a path for my children to carry on.
But it is not just revolutionary for the National Ranching Heritage Center and for education. It is an investment that will bring visitors from around the world to Texas Tech University, Lubbock, and the South Plains.
The Cash Ranch Life Learning Center is expected to be completed next year. The facility will include both indoor and outdoor educational exhibits that will combine the latest technology with authentic hands-on experiences to help people of all ages learn about ranching. The Ranch Life Learning Center will be themed around the adventures of Hank the Cow Dog, a children's book series created by John R. Erickson. Erickson directly contributed to the project and attended last week's groundbreaking.
Back here on the main campus, Texas Tech just wrapped up a week-long celebration of the many groups that make up the university's population during the 2022 edition of International Week. The celebration kicked into high gear last Tuesday when local restaurants gathered at the International Cultural Center for the Office of International Affairs' open house. During the event, Tech faculty and staff were invited to try international cuisine made right here in Lubbock. Attendees could enjoy a variety of dishes from some of the many cultures which make up the diverse Lubbock community. The event also allowed faculty and staff a chance to interact with local vendors in hopes of promoting community and highlighting options for cultural engagement right here in the hub city.
I think for a lot of new people to Texas Tech, they have no idea that there's Greek cuisine, that there's African cuisine. So we want to introduce that to them. At the same time, again, we're trying to make that cultural engagement.
OIA's open house wrapped up last Tuesday at 1 p.m., but the International Cultural Center played host to several more activities and events throughout the week.
International Week featured several information sessions for students, faculty, and staff to learn about the study abroad options available through the university. But the final event of the week gave local community the chance to take a trip around the world without leaving campus. On Saturday, OIA hosted the final event of the week at the International Cultural Center. Culture Fest started at 11 a.m., highlighting various student organizations, language departments, and multicultural groups right here at Texas Tech. Each group at the event were given the chance to showcase music, food, arts and crafts, and even live performances to educate the community about their culture and the importance of diversity on campus and beyond.
I think it's very important to share a piece of your culture with other cultures. It is a step towards globalization, which helps the world becomes more peaceful and understanding towards other cultures. I think it's also really fun and interesting to learn other cultures' dances, food, language, habits, traditions, and all that.
Culture Fest wrapped up this year's International Week festivities, but the Office of International Affairs hosts a variety of events throughout the year. To learn about future events as well as study abroad options coming up in future semesters, visit international.ttu.edu.
The United States economy affects each of our daily lives, but many of us have probably spent more time thinking about it recently than ever before. Luckily, one group here on campus brings in a series of guests each year to help educate the public on capitalism. Texas Tech's Free Market Institute hosted the October event in their public speaker series last Tuesday in the Rawls College of Business. Members of the Tech and local communities gathered in the college's multipurpose room to listen to a lecture by Thomas L. Hogan, a senior fellow at the American Institute for Economic Research. Hogan's speech focused on how the Federal Reserve failed to achieve mandates to maximize employment and stabilize prices here in the U.S. Hogan says the issue is important to help understand why prices have increased so quickly over the last year.
Inflation is a big issue that is a big problem in the United States right now, and all the prices going up means it's harder for people to go to the store and buy food and buy gas and pay for their regular bills, and so people want to know about what's causing that, and that's what we were talking about today.
Last week's lecture at the College of Business is not the last event on the fall calendar for the Free Market Institute. The group will be hosting another event on November 1st featuring Notre Dame professor James R. Otteson, who will be speaking about how to create an honorable business. For more information on the Free Market Institute and future events, visit fmi.ttu.edu. And the month of October is off to a pretty wet start. Today marks the second Monday in a row with rainy and gloomy conditions to start the week.
The wet weather made its way to the South Plains on Saturday night, and we've seen occasional showers ever since. But will the sun make a return in time for this week's homecoming activities? Let's take a look at the MCTV forecast. The MCTV Tower Cam is still showing overcast skies this afternoon, but the rain has been a lot lighter today. Even with the slightly drier conditions, temperatures have stayed below 60 degrees. Highs aren't expected to climb out of the 50s today, but there is a chance that the sun could pop out of the clouds before sunset. Overnight, the cooler temperatures will stick around and we could experience the coldest night of the fall so far. Lows are expected to drop into the 40s, but luckily the rain should have stopped before the colder temperatures set in. Sunshine should make a comeback tomorrow, but we'll still see clouds through most of the day. Highs are expected to make a slight rebound with temperatures back in the mid-60s late in the day. After Tuesday, clear skies finally make a return to the forecast, and that also means a return to warmer weather. Wednesday's highs are expected to reach into the 70s by early afternoon and climb into the mid-70s before sunset. Thursday should also be very similar, with temperatures climbing even higher near 80 degrees. Looking ahead, dry conditions should stick around the area through Saturday's homecoming game at the Jones Stadium, and temperatures will also rebound back into the 80s before the end of the week.
And as Patricia just mentioned, homecoming is coming up this Saturday, but that's not the only athletic action taking place here on campus this week.
MCTV's Joshua Ermis joins us now in studio with a look at highlights from this past weekend and what's on the calendar for this week in sports. Joshua.
Thanks, Patricia and Alejandra. Texas Tech football was on a bye over the weekend, but there was still plenty of action to recap, and it all went down in the state of Kansas. We're going to start with Red Raider volleyball as they stopped in Lawrence to take on the Kansas Jayhawks. The Red Raiders got off to a hot start as they won the first set 25-20 over the Jayhawks, led by a slew of blocks from Brooke Canis, Kenna Sauer, and Caitlin Dugan. Kansas then responded by taking the next two sets with scores of 25-13 and 25-17, but Tech wasn't ready to go down just yet as they battled back to win a close fourth set 25-23, forcing a fifth and final set that saw Kansas take the match with another dominant set of 15-8. The Red Raiders now hold an overall record of 14-5 and a conference record of 3-3. They will come back to Texas as they take on the Baylor Bears in Waco this Wednesday. Texas Tech soccer also traveled to the state of Kansas for 2 conference matches last weekend. They started their road trip in Manhattan on Thursday as they looked to keep their streak alive against the Kansas State Wildcats, and that they did. After a scoreless first period that saw both Tech and K-State combine for 10 first-period shots, Elise Anderson and Ashley Williams were able to put the game away in the 77th minute with a Williams score off the Anderson serve, winning the match 1-0 in goalie Madison White's 24th career shutout. Texas Tech soccer wasn't finished in Kansas just yet, as they headed to Rock Chalk Park in Lawrence on Sunday to face off against the Kansas Jayhawks. On Sunday, forward Ashley Williams continued her dominant weekend as the Red Raiders took down the Jayhawks. Kansas struck first with a goal in the 4th minute of the first period that was immediately met by an Ashley Williams goal less than a minute later. They would take the 1-1 score into the half, and it wouldn't be until the 58th minute of the match that Ashley Williams would put the match away at 2-1 off an assist from Giselle Kozarski. Texas Tech now stands at 8-3-5 overall and 4-1-2 in Big 12 play. They'll be back in Lubbock this Thursday as they host Baylor. Also, Texas Tech football will return to action after the bye week this Saturday as they look to break their 2-game losing streak. They host the West Virginia Mountaineers in the homecoming game. Kickoff is set for 2 p.m. That's it for sports. Let's send it back to Patricia and Alejandra.
All right, thanks so much, Joshua. The Texas Tech campus is home to a lot of different plants and even some local wildlife, but there's currently some special visitors who are temporarily calling the university home.
That's right, Patricia. And the annual monarch butterfly migration is making its way through the South Plains, and you currently have a chance to see these unique insects in person. Just north of the United Supermarkets Arena is Tech's Greenhouse and Horticultural Gardens. The facility showcases various plants, including several varieties of flowers. And many of those flowers are currently home to dozens of monarch butterflies who are making a short stop in the Lubbock area before they continue their journey to Mexico. The monarch butterfly is the only insect that migrates in search of an escape from freezing temperatures. In the case of the butterflies here on campus, they began their journey in Canada before making their way south through the Great Plains. Your best chance to see this year's migration will take place between now and the end of the month. The monarchs will head on to their next destination as temperatures continue to get colder.
Yeah, so Alejandra, have you had a chance to see the monarchs here in Lubbock?
You know what? Interesting fact, I'm terrified of butterflies, so
Really?
I hope I don't, actually.
Well, I think they're beautiful, so I think you should try, give them a chance,
I might have to for you.
Definitely. That's all for today's edition of the MCTV Weekday Update.
And thanks so much for joining us, and be sure to check ttuhub.net every day for more news. We'll see you on Thursday.